Hi, I'm Nathan Oakley, and this will be my harvest moonrise. Probably about half an hour off actually seeing the moonrise, so in the meantime you'll hear the background noises of the Oakley residents, fun though they might be. Not limited to, but including some of the FE core presentation that's currently going on, which I'm listening to at the moment, so I don't even know if I can actually mute the audio in here. I can mute the microphone. I may do exactly that.
The short answer to your question is absolutely not. But believe me when I tell you that everybody on this board and most of the people in FE Core are credentialed engineers and have every right to use that term. Okay? Any other ones?
I see Arbiter of Truth has another question. He says, I was concerned that promoting the FEIC on your website makes it look like you're biased.
No, that's just, we can sponsor a chocolate selling convention if we want. Doesn't mean that we share the same opinion about chocolate.
That's right. And not only that, this is something that we are offering to our membership is a discount through that. And that was made entirely possible by the conference organizer. We have, literally nothing to do that other than the fact that Robbie has been kind enough to allow us to offer discounts to our members, and therefore that is why we will put it up there and plug it. And again, there's nothing illegal about this. We can also do this, as far as I know, even for commercial types of venturing. And you have to understand, people, that the money that FE Core takes in, no matter what the source is, whether we hold a bake sale or whether we invent a product that we sell for profit, the bottom line is this money, all it has to be is accounted for. Even if we make a profit on it, we account for it, and as long as it is put back in under the guidelines of the 501c3, meaning that it is to be used in a scientific research way, and ultimately at the end of the year, when we're not looking at a huge profit or a profit, then pretty much anything goes. And I'm not saying everything does, but
Yet. Selective advertising out of it. Oh, it's my alarm for the Harvest Moon.
Again,
Yeah, I'm already streaming.
It doesn't really matter how you make the funds necessarily, as much as how those funds are used, and if they are used within the purview of the 501c3 itself. And that is absolutely something that I guarantee you we will be ensuring that every penny that we get is used towards those means. So, but yeah, guys, again, money is something that every corporation, every organization, every individual has to have. So ridiculous notions like, oh, well, don't charge any money for anything. And like, so what does that mean? Are you expecting us that we have to go out and mortgage our houses so that we can do these experiments for your benefit? And, that it's all on our nickel? That's absolutely absurd. And, little minds would think of that. And that's just, not what we're about. You have to be, if you're going to ridicule us, you have to at least be able to think rationally. And, I have to say that some of the comments I've seen are far from rational. Get rid of your membership fees. Yikes.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? I'm not seeing anything. And again, we'll hold it open for, a few more minutes. Human sheeple asks, what bends light more, warm moisture or cold dry air? Which direction does the light bend? Well, human sheeple, that's a difficult question to answer because when you talk about warm moist, and really this has nothing to do with FE Core. This is something that we'll handle on Globebusters, but let's try and keep the questions to the matter at hand here.
I think Karen also had a few questions she got in advance, so maybe we can go over those, Karen.
Well, I actually addressed most of those were addressed in the statement, but I'll open it to look up. Oh, well.
The theodolite question, for example, is one.
Here's another question. What if a Globetard reports FE Core is comprising of all flat earthers? Would that raise concern? Well, first of all, FE Core is not all comprised of all flat earthers. There are people on both sides of the fence that belong to this organization. Obviously, we have people, from both sides that are interested in seeing what kind of experiments that we're running and the outcome of them. And we invite that. Yeah. Actually, we invite that.
May I just interject something here?
Sure.
The individual has nothing to do with the corporation. Those are two separate entities. So whatever we say or believe as an individual does not necessarily reflect upon the organization itself.
Exactly.
As long as the organization does not publicly state their opinion, then there is nothing that we say that actually changes the opinion of the organization.
That's absolutely true. And again, this has to be, and we, especially as the officers of the board, have got to ensure that happens. That we can say whatever we want to on our own channels. We can express our beliefs. This is called the First Amendment in this country, and FE Core, the 501c3, is formed in the United States. Therefore, our laws are very applicable to what we can say. But the bottom line is what point would it be to specifically skew results towards one way or the other when we are inviting people to go ahead and replicate? In fact, we're asking for people to replicate our results. That would make us look pretty pathetic, wouldn't it? So obviously, no. Our personal beliefs are irrelevant, and they will be kept completely out of our reporting. On our experiments. And this is another reason why we videotape. We have witnesses there. We invite people from all sides of this debate or, opinions to actually be a part of this. And you don't even have to be a member of FE Core to show up and actually witness some of these experiments that we're doing. We've made these invitations open, and we're not hiding anything. So,
I see another question from Anthony. Will FE Core be more interactive with the Hangouts in future, or is this a one-off? Well, I've been considering that myself. The fact that we've been so closed, basically, is because we are starting up. It's been 10 months, and the amount of work necessary to get this off the ground is a lot. Let's sum it up to that. But as soon as we have stuff to report, experiments that we've done, results that we have to publish. I'm very much open to doing that publicly on a forum like this, but only, if I see that there is a benefit for us to do that. If we're just getting trolled all the time, then I would much rather just focus on the academic community and leave YouTube for what it is.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, we have another question from Arbiter Truth. It says, final question. Whoopsie, where'd it go? There it is. Okay.
Will everybody get access to all experiment data and results straight away, or will it still depend on subscription level? No, we have basically a way that we put out the information from our experiments. We do our experiments, we compile the data, we make a nice document, and then we send it out to our members first. And as soon as our members have seen the results, we make it public.
That's right. So anybody that says that, we, in order to see our results are free to everyone. The only preferential treatment that members get here, essentially, is they will get that information first. They also have the ability to chime in with their critiques, with their suggestions, and they are actually a voice that is listened to and given, due diligence. Because they're a member, we recognize that. We appreciate and value their input, and not to mention we appreciate and value their contribution to the organization that allows us to be able to continue on with the work that we're doing. So yes, we have to have something ultimately that is some sort of a reward for our members, and we try and do that as best as possible. But as far as actually releasing the results that we get, they are 100% public, will be made public, and that will never change.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Could you ask the panel, if possible, for me to have 2 ice cream? No. Adam, can I?
I see another one here.
Okay.
Have every test or observations made so far been presented to the public, or you haven't presented everything done by you so far? Yeah, we are. Since we're also busy with forming the foundation itself, we also are participating in doing experiments, and that basically puts us working on several different levels. And so far, we have a lot of active projects. The laser experiment is at least the first stage of that is done. And microwave experiment has been a preliminary test done. Those results have been made public. But it's an ongoing experiment, and the same goes for gyroscopic experiments and the force to level line, which we just did a preliminary on. As soon as we have all those results compiled in nice documents that we can publish, then those will be made public for everyone.
And additionally to that, also another reason why we don't immediately, release results. For example, like the force to laser line experiment that Chris Van Maitre did is, as I stated yesterday on Globebusters, we got some really bizarre, anomalous results that really shouldn't have even been possible, but they were really strange. And so rather than just rush right out and tell everybody, oh, look what we found, we know that there, is some sort of an issue with it. And it turns out it looks like it has something to do with the map. But so obviously this is the reason why it stays internal for a while, to allow us to work out those bugs, to do retesting if necessary. And and at that point, I have no problem with even releasing the quote unquote bloopers, and how we worked through them, because again, we're not about hiding any of this information. I think it needs to all be out there, even the weird things that we come up with, like we did last week. It will be released, but we also have a responsibility, to, when we do release information, that it is accurate to within our best understanding and ability to be that way. So there you have it. And I think we have more questions. Where did I see some?
I see Karen B, can you ask what is the ultimate goal of FE Core, please? That was stated in our mission statement that we stated earlier, but basically that's what we've said throughout this hangout. It's unbiased, independent scientific research.
Yes.
Okay. Another question. Will FE Core release all the raw data from the laser gyro experiment, or will it just be a PDF? All right. Well, here's the thing. First of all, FE Core, we have not purchased a laser gyro at all within our organization. The person you are speaking of is a member of FE Core. His name is Rick Zimmerman. His channel is Seventh Day Truth Seeker. He was the one that personally purchased this gyro to the tune of several $1,000s. He is the one that has exclusively done all of the work. Yes, we have the laser gyro experiments, but basically all the information that we have on it is pretty much dispersed out through a Skype group, essentially. And that's all there. And yeah, I think that at some point we can compile it, especially when we want to elaborate on these experiments. And like I said, we have no problem with releasing the raw data. And as many of you know, the raw data, and I've explained this again on Globebusters, gives us one of those anomalous readings, but we have been able to explain it, as far as, what it is that we're actually picking up rotating. And we will actually be endeavoring to prove that by recreating an experiment that was done a long time ago that is quite simple and, absolutely differentiates, what's moving and what isn't moving. That's something that, yes, ultimately it will be released. But as far as what has been done thus far, these experiments have not been done by FE Core. These have been done by a private individual who is now a member of FE Core. And, frankly, what he does with his gyroscope is his business, but I'm sure that he will have no problem releasing the raw data ultimately. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, well, the experimentation itself, the progress and the add-ons that Rick and Rob, for example, are doing, those are being discussed within the Discord server, the private Discord server of FE Core. And as soon as we have something that is complete, and we can draw a definite conclusion from, then it is fit to release. Until then, it's just open for speculation, and we don't want speculation.
Do you think I should transfer across to the gimbal and walk up the road to where it's got a clear view of the east?
Dinner's ready in 8 minutes.
Oh, well, the actual moonrise is in 25 minutes, so I'll just leave it here for the time being. Okay, that's made my decision for me.
Speculation.
There you go. Okay.
Well, then let's make sure you were talking about Rick Zimmerman there.
Yes, Rick Zimmerman.
Yes, Rick Zimmerman, yes. Not Rick Hummer, Rick Zimmerman.
And it's also not a laser gyro; it's a fiber optic gyro.
Exactly. So yeah, I apologize if I misspoke on that, but yes, it's a fiber optic gyro. Okay, so will Sleeping Warrior ask, will FE Core be more interactive with Hangouts in the future?
I already answered that one.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. My bad.
There was another one I just put in there from SciStrike. Will FE Core will remain a neutral position and only report data, and non-FE adherents are welcome?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, welcome as long as you are not trolling.
Right.
Like I said, we are at the end of our rope with trolls. If you can be nice, if you can be cordial, we have no problem answering any questions. But as soon as you come in with accusatory tones or accusatory type of questions, then, forget about it. Not only are we not going to answer you, we're going to block you.
Refuse you. We reserve the rights to refuse you.
Exactly. We don't, just because we are, becoming a public, nonprofit type of organization, that does not mean that we have to abide by everything that you say. We we will do our best to fulfill, to answer questions and to fulfill requests. But anybody that thinks that they are owed anything other than what the law dictates that you are owed, then you're just out of luck. But we rest assured, we will absolutely comply with the law and provide everything that we need to comply with and provide as soon as the law. And there's really not a lot you can do about it. And no amount of bullying, making false videos, derogatory, anything like that is going to change our position on it. So that's how that works.
Yes. Couldn't have said it itself.
Karen put one in there just now. Why was a church chosen as the address of FE Core?
That's a good one for you, Rick.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's no longer a church. It hasn't been a church in years. Once again, Bob, I have to address this. Sorry, but the investigative skills of people making these accusations, you get an F. You get an F. You're losing. And the reason why you're losing is because you're dead wrong. This is not a church. It's not been a Mennonite church in I don't know how many years, but since the gentleman who owns this building purchased it, it's never been a church. It's an operation for office space, and also, I believe, part of his business, and that should tell you how much I know about what's going on his end. But he has another company where he has some logistics that run in and out of here, like supplies for other companies. And there's been accusations on him as well. This guy. So I just look at this and go, what is going on? And by the way, just so everybody knows, this is kind of funny. Shamrock Holdings is, I believe, who owns the property itself, and that's who, that's why we're here. The other part about this is everybody thinks that Shamrock Holdings in North Liberty, Indiana, is connected to Disney in some facet. That's laughable. It is laughable. By the way, you should probably come down. Basketball season starting up. This is Indiana, and the North Liberty Shamrocks are pretty good.
Yeah,
the North Liberty Shamrocks.
Could that be
good.
where that name came from? Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
What a coincidence!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What a yes.
And I'm sure somebody's going to say, oh, you clown, to that one. But I'm not going to honk anybody's nose. So there you go. Maybe.
Okay. Oops. Any other questions, Karen, from there? You need to address? Okay, if not, I think the queue is empty. If anybody wants to ask us a question, do so now or forever hold your peace. All right, so we have another troll in there. Bob issuing threats to people for my FE Core email. Oh my God. Okay. Yes. So 420. Yes, I know what you're talking about. First of all, let me say something that the fact that came from my FE Core email address was an absolute mistake, even though it doesn't really matter. But I have both my journalism.com and my fecore.org emails coming into the same inbox, and when I hit reply, I forgot to change it to the journalism address. However, rest assured, what I wrote in that email to that particular troll, I meant every word of it.
Yes.
So, and there was no threat in that. So, again, you're obfuscating and telling lies, Mr. 420 No Scope Killer. But, you just... how do I define a troll? I would say pretty much you would be the definition of a troll. And I think you're about... I'm sorry, Mike?
A misinformed troll. Or
Yes.
better yet, an intelligent, uneducated troll.
Yeah, very much so. So here you are. And no, yeah, I absolutely meant every word of that I responded that was there. And that's because I think this guy that is making these slanderous videos is scum, frankly. And yes, it was an accident that it came from my FE Core address. Nothing I can do about that now. But frankly, I don't care, because whether I had it from my FE Core address or my Jeranism.com address, I meant exactly what I said. And there was no threat in that at all. So quit obfuscating and telling lies. So there you have it. What else we got?
I don't know what exactly was said, Bob, so I can't say I agree with you.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you afterwards. I'm not going to say it online, but
Okay.
I mean, it's out there, and like I said, I don't regret saying it, and I would say it again in a heartbeat. So there you have it.
And I would fully support you doing that.
Okay, so another question. Sorry for asking this again, but why did you choose that old, not any longer church for the organization address? Well, I think that is quite evident. A, because we got a great deal on it. We had a guy on the inside that happened to know the owner. And Rick, if you want to elaborate on that, I mean, it just worked out very well for us.
Yeah, you just said it. There's office space available. I mean, it's an old church. Once again, old church. It's an old church in two ways. It's an old church in that the building was built a long time ago. It's an old church, meaning that it's no longer a church. It hasn't been a church, and it was a church in olden days.
Yeah, and what it is
I don't know how
today.
much more clear it can be.
Yeah, what it is today is an office space.
Yeah, it's Unique Tooling is in here. His offices are here, and there's another company that has office space in here. I have office space that I can use if I choose to, but I also have an office at home. I think it's interesting that we're actually have office space where we can actually build models. We have that much room here if we choose to do so. If it's something that we can see, wait, can we do this? How can we do this or that? We could actually, set up experiments here now. This is what's great about this. I mean, I can't thank, Shamrock Holdings enough.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like anybody's just going to hand out free office space, for, believing in what you're doing and saying, yeah, go for it,
Okay, and we have some more questions I would like to address. The first one is, will FE Core please build a massive mechanical gyroscope? It will make John Savage very happy.
We've talked about that, believe me.
we intend to, but the designing a particular piece of massive hardware like a mechanical gyroscope is not something you do lightly. We want to make it special, of course, and and that will probably take us a lot of time to actually get the designs done, and then we still have to build it. So yeah, we do plan on doing that, but I have no estimate on the time frame yet.
Okay, and then there's another question.
Yeah.
Why
There's no response to the Flat Earth Lunacy peer review of your experiment. That's because that guy is an idiot. I've read his peer review, and he's making false assumptions. And
who says we haven't responded? In fact, there's been several responses.
Yes.
If I remember correctly, I have seen interaction with them between him and the members. But you're right, Mike. I mean, everything he says it's ridiculous. I mean, it isn't even within the scope of a reasonable assessment of that. And if you guys think that it is, then by all means reiterate it and bring it up to us. But honestly, if you know what we're talking about, then go there and explain to us, how any of this rhetoric that he's generated, in any way valid, either as a critique or is even a question about it. I mean,
yeah, indeed. And may also add that he didn't ask us any questions about the particulars of the experiment. He just made wrong assumptions and ran with it.
Yeah.
And I've read it, and I think Sander has also read it, and it's laughable. No, we're not even going to address it publicly because it doesn't deserve addressing.
Yes, he had two documents. One was answered, that was way back in the early spring. And this is a second document that has so many false assumptions, as you said, Mike, that there is nothing to answer it. When the guy says that the place we stayed at Chiofok is 9 meters higher than the water level, what should I say?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not.
it's because he dropped a Google pin on the terrace roof. Yeah, that's probably 9 meters in the air, but we were under the roof.
Right.
Those kind of things, you know. And he also said that the laser in the Netherlands was much higher than we measured. It was not. You know, and even then, we're talking about 94 meters that were missing. So unless we were 100 meters up in the air, he's got a point, but I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So another question. God, why does FE Corps demand $100 for public information? What? What?
Well, you know, I can address that. We have been bothered by trolls a lot, and it's easy for me to spot them, who they are and what their intentions are. And there is a law in place, or at least regulations in place, that allow us to charge for that information. But I only do it with trolls, because you know, these people are hiding behind their anonymity and are basically just out to cause trouble. And we are within our rights to request user information before we actually give that information. If they don't supply us with that information, then we have no reason to trust they are even a U.S. citizen.
Right. Oh, okay. So what he's okay. Demand $100 for the information that we're supposed to release publicly. Okay. Yeah. And you're right. Mike, that's exactly.
And by the way, the information they are referring to is documents that have not even been submitted yet. You know, and it's easy to check that because you can see at the IRS our tax exemption status is not been approved yet. So people asking for those documents while the IRS states that we're not in that phase yet are just dumb.
Yeah, I know. You had IFERs demanding these documents, but as early as November. When we had just barely filed. I mean, again, and this is the kind of unreasonableness and the kind of trolling that we get. Again, we have never done this before. We were fully aware that it takes at least a year, if not longer, sometimes maybe 9 months, but it takes a long time to get the 501c3 status, and there is a lot of paperwork that we have to comply with. And they are very specific about this. So, yeah, but as far as, $100 administrative fees, that's, yeah, I know that we are absolutely within our right to be able to do that, to cover administrative rights, our costs, I mean. NASA does it with FOIA. Any public entity is fully within their rights because it's...
Let me make clear that I don't usually charge that fee if somebody just asks me the simple question of why those documents are not public yet. I will just answer that. Right. But as soon as I see notorious trolls contacting me demanding that they get that information, I just put up a wall and say, send me your identification so I know you're a U.S. citizen that I have to comply with, and then you have to pay for administrative costs.
That's right. And that's if we choose to do that. And Frank, like Mike said, we probably won't. But, on some people, you're going to give us a hard time about it. We're going to give you a hard time right back because we are 100% well within our rights to charge administrative fees to be able to do this, because nothing comes for free. Whether we have to hire somebody or do it ourselves, anybody that thinks that, even in certain capacities that we don't have the right to be compensated for our time and efforts, we absolutely do, even though so far nobody has actually, taken any of that compensation. And, that's probably going to be something that is long, far into the future. And again, we are not in this to make any money. We're not paying ourselves any salary, even though
So for anybody who's bored, 100 people watching, the moonrise is set for about 9 minutes time. So I can't see it yet through the trees. Unfortunately, the trees do slightly obscure the moonrise. I've seen it a few times. It was glorious last year, although I had a better vantage point, which was up the road. Based on the fact that I'm eating, I'm not going to move the camera, otherwise I'll probably miss it. So better that I can just have this as a non-stop video from the same vantage point of the moonrise. So that house is east. You can probably see it if I can bring my finger into frame. This house here. Anyway, I'll leave you with a bit more FE core while I finish off my nosh.
All rights, we technically would have the right to do that, but this isn't about a business for us to make a living off of. This is about trying to get to the bottom of the truth. It's as simple as that. Okay?
Yes.
So we have another question. Something about the theodolite. Where did that go? Oh gosh, where is it? It was something about.
I think I can formulate it or paraphrase it. The question was raised why we didn't use theodolites during our long-distance laser experiments. And I can answer it fairly quickly. A theodolite is not used for long distances.
Yeah, the one I saw was something about why didn't you just use the software that comes with the Trimble? And honestly, that's a question for Chris Van Maitre. I was out there helping, but obviously I am not a surveyor. I didn't even know that it had software that would do this, or if it does, or if even anything you're saying is true. But that's a question we can certainly run by Chris Van Maitre. I have no problem asking him.
But I think this question was directed at the long-distance laser experiments that we did. They were asking why we didn't use any surveying equipment, and to even have to address that is to me waste of energy and time. But theodolites and surveying equipment are useless over water. That's it. You cannot use the theodolite for something that is 25 miles away.
Yeah.
Hey,
And if we
can I interject something real quick?
sure.
The laser test also on Lake Isle was the second night. I believe it was the second night. We were actually lower because we were on that little concrete. That little concrete pump, or whatever that is, if it was a release or whatever it is in case the water gets too high. I don't know what it was, but we were like almost standing on the water at that point.
Yeah, I
could reach my hand down and touch the water where I was at the second night. Or our last night. It was our last night there, but it was the second night in that location.
Yeah, and we've also been receiving questions why there is not a video produced yet about the laser experiments, and that is a very valid question because we've said on several occasions that we would, and we are going to, but I have decided that the microwave experiments that we're also doing are basically part of or building upon the laser experiment itself, and I want to include those results in a final video documentary.
Okay, and let me answer one other question. That this guy has been deleted because he's a troll, but he says, is FE Corps trying to prove the Earth flat or not? You tell the FE community you are while telling the government something different. That is absolutely another blatant lie.
Yes.
We are not telling the flat Earth community anything other than we are running experiments. We have revealed our experiments and what they indicate so far, and we are being 100% truthful of that. And where you get the idea of what we're telling the government is ridiculous. We're not telling the government anything. What do you think?
We're telling the government
a report and said, yes, dear government, we're telling you that we're not going to try and prove the Earth flat or a sphere or whatever. I mean, it's no wonder this troll got banned. What a ridiculous question. Honestly, we tell the government something different. We haven't told the government anything, clown. God, I can't believe these people. Anyway, I apologize for that. Jeez. I mean, and see, people, this is the kind of nonsense that we get, from these people out there. They arbitrarily make stuff up that's absolutely not true about what we've done, what we haven't done, what we said, what we haven't said. And believe me, if we've said something, like what I admittedly said, in my response to a certain troll that he made a video about, Yes, I did say that, and I'd say it again in a heartbeat, and I meant every word of it. But to sit there and make assertions that we are telling the government lies about what we're not telling the government anything except what we are required to tell the government, and all of that is 100% legal and above board. It's as simple as that. And then another question is are we hiring? No, we're not hiring because we don't have any paid positions. So sorry.
Voluntarily based.
This is a volunteer thing. None of us are making any money, so no, we're not hiring. Now, I suppose
You can register as a volunteer on a website if you want.
right now, if you had some specific talent that we had to have, um, you know, for some experiment, and it was something that none of us were capable of, it was something that we were required to have, as in somebody certified in something, then yes, obviously we would quote unquote hire that out because it's something that would be necessary for our experiments. But as far as just having, hiring people for labor, sorry, um, I wish, but no. So, okay, anything else? Karen, that you've seen? I've tried to keep up with the chat here a little bit.
Well, I think we're basically done with all the questions. I don't know if there's more in the chat itself because I don't have the live stream open.
I do. I've been reading the chat. I don't see anything coming up.
Okay. And for those of you, being trolls and then saying, well, I'm recording the chat, just knock yourself out, people. They're doing that because obviously they want to make up stuff about, what they think we've said or what they want people to think that we said, which is slander and libel.
Right.
Yeah. May I just round this out with saying that we have indeed reached our limit of people out there claiming stuff about us that is patently absurd and defamatory, slanderous, and libelous. And if you continue to do that, then I know that many people on the board probably do not agree with me, but I will take action against you because I'm not taking it anymore.
Yeah. So there you have it. Okay, guys. Well, hopefully we have answered all the questions. Let's see. Bob could FE4 end up challenging some of the lies feed to our children in the courtroom? Well, that's not really our purview, Dank, to do that. We're not out to, start a crusade to save the world. FE Core, the purpose of FE Core is for scientific research, and that is what we will stick to. That is our purview. That is our mission. And going out and taking all these spurious causes on is well outside of what we are about. So it's a nice thought, and I'm sure many of us personally, like what we do on our own channels or in our own life, whatever causes we decide to support, that's up to the individuals themselves. But as far as FE Core, we are strictly business, we are strictly science, and that's what we're sticking to.
Yes.
And if somebody wants to use the information to do anything, maybe to learn more for higher education, to challenge the current education system, whatever, the data is there. That's the whole mission, is to get the data, is to do the science, to observe, to test, collect, do the same thing over and over again.
Okay, so we have another guy, Robert Oberdove, is saying, you did not answer my last two questions, why? So I'm scrolling up, and one question, what happened to the Eru balloon experiment postponed to September? You know what, Robert Overdove, why don't you ask Eru that instead of FE Core and, listen.
I was just going to say, ask FE Core related questions.
Yeah,
please.
ask FE Core. We don't know, why don't you ask Eru or, go on a Goldbuster show or something like that. This is not appropriate for this venue, and obviously the reason it didn't get answered is because it's a stupid question and it's not applicable. And I'm trying to scroll up and find the other laser photos, the presence of optical mirages. Well, that's not a question, and I don't even know what that means. So, again, quit being a troll.
I've seen those, and it's a complete fallacy because he's misinterpreting what he's actually seeing on the pictures. And the pictures he is referring to are part of a video. And I know what that video actually shows, and I know what he is saying is utter bullshit. And I can't think of a nicer term to say that. Sorry.
I also do remember what he's referring to. It's a long exposure shot where he sees some lights that are bending and he thinks it's refraction, but it's actually the point when William was releasing the button and it shaked a little bit the camera. So it's also just an assumption from him that is, what to answer to.
Yes.
Okay. So
And that's what it is with these people. They make assumptions based on incorrect information and then run with it. And all it does in our eyes is discredit them because they didn't ask any questions to us about the specifics of the experiments themselves. They just took it at face value and draw some preschool conclusion out of it, and think they can offer that as a peer review, which he then first spells wrong. This guy is a total joke. He's hiding behind a cartoon. He doesn't want to give out his personal information so he can actually, see if he's a real person. He's hiding. It's a troll. Trolls use cartoons.
yeah, and Robert, he's just saying something is utter bullshit is not scientific evidence. Well, you know what? Neither is what this person, what's his name, Jonah, said about us. He didn't offer any scientific rebuttal. He made an observation. We have addressed that, and so stop the ridiculous questions. Okay, another valid question we have is: does FE Corps need a coffee runner on site for upcoming experiments? The Bloody Truth asked that. Absolutely. We can always use a coffee runner. Thanks, Bloody Truth, for that. A little lighter there. That's awesome.
We do have Karen, our secretary, for the coffee, of course.
Oh, there we go. Now we're starting to. Okay, so what else do we have? Patatos, Bob. Stockley TV. Obviously, English is not your first language, because I have no idea what that means. Let's see. Something to do with Disney. Can you touch on the Shamrock thing again being something to do with Disney? Okay, we just did. It has nothing to do with Disney. The local sports team, high school sports team or whatever, or
Not high school. Not high school.
College.
It was a high school a long time ago. It's an elementary now.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
Yeah, they moved. The high school merged with another school corporation in the next town over, and the high school. All the kids go to that high school.
Oh, okay. So no, it's nothing.
Which you really, you really want to hear? Okay, yeah. I just think it's funny, and the rivalry's still there. The elementary kids still play against each other. There's kids over in Walkerton, at an elementary there, and then the elementary here in North Liberty, and I believe it's the Walkerton Wildcats. And it's always been the North Liberty Shamrocks.
Oh, okay. Oh, you know what, guys?
Green and white with gold trim, baby.
I just realized who Robert Overdove is. He is Jonah the Scientist. That's one of his troll accounts that he uses. That just occurred to me. So, hey, we have Jonah the Troll Scientist that doesn't know anything about science.
Using sock puppets. Real heroes, huh?
Using sock puppets. Real professional, Jonah. Real professional. And you wonder why we don't take you serious. Let's
can I do this for the kids at North Liberty Elementary?
Bye. All right. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rick.
I just wanted to do this for the kids at the North Liberty Elementary School.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Sure.
SH SHAM RO ROCK SHAMROCK Shamrock. There you go.
By the way, if you get that spells Shamrock, guys. Shamrock.
There's 3 Shamrocks spelled, so it's Shamrocks.
There you go. Okay,
we only need 3 kids from this school to take on 5. How's that in basketball?
Angry Alien Overload says, any response on what I said about the distance to the sun? I'm sorry I missed that, what you said about the distance to the sun. Let me scroll up and see if I can find it.
If anybody has a question in the chat, can you tag somebody, tag Karen B or tag FECOR Inc. so we can see your question? Because otherwise we're just kind of, it's taken a while to find questions.
Oh, okay. So he says distance to the sun is based on a man assuming Earth and Venus are the same size, right? Well,
Yes.
that's partially true, yes, and obviously a very, very inconclusive way of making that assertion. But supposedly they've also given us, different methodologies that they have allegedly used, like radar ranging and stuff like that. But I don't know, and nor do I know what this question has to do with FE4. But I thought I would address it. So anything else? Okay, I know it is a bit of a still. Okay, again, Angry Alien or Overload, keep it to the subject matter. We're not talking about our experiments, and this has nothing to do with any of the experiment that we have done or anything like that. We're trying to be accommodating here, but again, for the 10th time, let's keep it to the subject at hand and quit asking spurious questions. So, okay. Bling, we appreciate that. FECOR is an amazing group of hardworking people. That really is true. We have an amazing staff at FECOR, and people, literally, these guys, all of us, well, not me so much, honestly, but the rest of the guys are in this, every single day. Unfortunately, I've got a business to run, and I've got, my time allocated to other things, but I can tell you that everybody in this organization is putting a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this, and a lot of their own money. And we're doing this because we want answers, and we want, we want to get this information out to the public, and it does ultimately get to the public, even though it goes through our members first. And again, the reason for that is for internal critique, internal uh, commentary, not to mention the fact that the people that are actually paying to be a part of this absolutely deserve to be the first to know our results and to be able to have input on them. I don't think that is a unreasonable thing at all. So, all right. Glowbusters is still a thing, right? Yes, right, it is. Let's. Yeah, yeah, amen to that, Ace.
Glowbusters is a platform on its own. It's unrelated to FECOR.
That's
Let's
right.
also get out of the way.
Yes. Glowbusters is Glowbusters. FECOR is FECOR. Journalism is journalism. These are separate. And like I said, we don't cross over the business, our personal issues, and our personal beliefs into FECOR. Like I said, when we put on the FECOR hat, we are strictly business, strictly science, and that is the way that it will be, always.
Check.
Okay. I think that's about it, guys. So if anybody has anything else they want to say before we close this out, that's great.
Yeah, if anybody comes up with another question and forgot to ask it during this live stream, you can always send us an email at learnmore@fecor.org, and we will answer them as soon as we can.
Yep. There we go. All right. So I guess that's it then. So I'll thank everybody for coming and joining us, and thanks all the board members for being here and talking to us. And yeah, I'm just looking at the side chat. Okay, we're all look good. All right, beautiful. So we will get out of here then. And again, thank you for your support. The members, the people that become members of FECOR. We appreciate it. You have our word that we will do our best to be as accurate and as forthcoming with everything that we have to. And last thing, guys, I'll say is, you will get a lot further by approaching us in a nice, friendly way than to come out guns a-blazing, accusing us, making accusations and ridiculous statements about us, or coming in, posing under a sock account, Jonah the scientist, Jonah the fake scientist. Give me a break. anyway, so yeah, we will be open. This is our mission. We're here for you. We're here for ourselves as well, to be able to, come to these realizations and these truths through the scientific method. It's what we're about. And that's where we're going to go with this. So thanks everybody for joining us, and we will talk to you later.
Very good.
Not over the horizon anymore, to show what it looks like compared between the two pictures. It's crazy as fuck. So tonight's Harvest Moon. Mike's asked me to plug his FE Core hangout that he's going to have at 6. So I'm going to plug that.
Cool.
Hey, Anthony.
Yeah. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning.
Afternoon even.
Yep.
I'm going to share the links on Facebook and Twitter because we're starting at a weird time, and as soon as I've done that we're going to start. So 2 minutes maybe.
Have you noticed he's looking very yellow around his belly?
Why isn't the show advertised?
Are you leaking? Are you
It
getting
says live stream offline.
Incompetent. Incontinence, not incompetent.
No, I prefer incompetent because he can't hold his belly anymore. I mean, look at that. That's like very much like lower-esque, isn't it?
Offline.
I don't know why.
Does that mean I've got to start it just to see it? That's annoying.
He's been licking it.
Okay,
I
I'll
can't
start
hear
and see
you,
how we get on.
Anthony.
That's weird. I hope there's no mess-ups on this show. If there is, tough, because I've got to get Spanish.
No, let
I'm
me
going to check out your channel.
Say again?
I'm gonna look at your channel.
Jesus, what's going on at the Riley residence?
No.
No
Nothing.
need for that.
It's gone.
Who's gone?
It's not there. Yeah, the video is not. Yeah, you're not live streaming. It's not there. So yeah.
I'll have to go live and then it'll appear, hopefully. I've scheduled it. Oh, no, I haven't. I've not scheduled it.
So.
Oh, stupid idiot. I thought I did this.
Yeah, or you could just leave it like this and see how long the chat will keep going.
Yeah. I want to.
Probably gonna keep on going until tomorrow.
I want to publish it on Facebook and Twitter and all that good stuff. There it is. It's appeared now. 4.98. Right, give me a minute. We'll probably end up starting at past by this rate.
The moon and the sun both look.
I can't make up my mind if the sky's really chemtrailed, if it's really clear. No sign of the moon. I can just see the sun glinting off a tower block in between the trees. But I cannot. Live on my live stream, just be aware.
Okay. Well, I'm in my little hidey hole, but I'm like pretty much clouded out with like thick grey black clouds. I can see Sellafield Nuclear Power Station, one side, and it's perfectly clear. I can see the sun setting on the clearest of clear skies, but where the moon's going to rise up over on my east, it's black.
Black? What do you mean by black cloud?
Black clouds, yeah, heavy, thick, grey, black clouds.
Oh, it's nice and clear here. I think. Just some chemtrails, and they're not even that heavy.
Any sight of the moon?
No, none. So I looked it up and it said 10 past 7. It's now 25 past 7, no sign.
Yeah, I got 25 past 7 when I looked it up.
Oh, really? So your time says now? I looked it up in London.
Now.
Well, I looked up the time in London. That could be I wouldn't have thought it'd make 10 minutes difference. London to Birmingham, would it?
Yeah, mine definitely said 25.
Okay.
23 it might have been.
Okay.
21.
I can't make up my mind if that is the sun glinting off a tower block. Sorry, I've got a little light twinkling through the trees. The live stream can't see it, but I can if I like move my position a bit. It's like, do I mess around with the camera and stick it on the gimbal and run up the road? But I'm just thinking, no, I'll just stick with the same position because it's going to rise, obviously.
Yeah, I've got my heaviest cloud ever I'm not going to see anything here.
Well, don't give up.
Well, it's a blanket of cloud, though.
So what are you going to do? You're going to hang around just in case?
Well, I'm going to wait until you tell me that you can see it, and then if I can't see it, then that means I'm going to be clouded out.
Okay.
Well, at least I can say I tried.
I mean, there's a plane or a helicopter or something coming towards me now that I can see clear as day, so I don't think I'm clouded out. I think I've got a nice clear blue sky.
Are you definitely looking east, though?
Yeah. This is the same place I do all my sunset videos from, or sunrise videos, I should say.
Sunset or sunrise?
Sunrise. I know which window to put my camera at, honestly, Anthony.
Well, you know, I'm just checking.
Yeah,
At least
yeah.
now we won't be able to interrupt this moonrise.
Well, how do you mean? How did he interrupt the last moonrise?
Pardon?
How did he interrupt the last moonrise?
Well, he interrupts everything.
Right.
He interrupts everything. We can't interrupt this one.
No. Well, I don't think you could even interrupt the moonrise if you tried.
You try, though.
Maybe. Oh, you can see this plane on my live stream, so people can see how clear it is based on that plane that's coming towards us. Which you'll probably hear when it goes overhead.
Yeah. It's annoying. My west, it's like the clearest of nice skies. There's hardly any clouds in the sky at all.
See, I've got the
There's
opposite.
a couple of fluffy ones.
I've got the total opposite, so through my other window I can see the sun setting. Well, it's actually set long ago because it's behind trees, but I can see all of the clouds in that direction, whereas in the east it's nice and clear.
No, the car.
You're clearly not talking to me.
No, so I was just paying attention to it, but I wasn't expecting attention.
Did you listen to the FE Core meeting?
Did I what, sorry?
Listen to the FE Core meeting?
Yeah, I did. I was hoping there'd be an announcement, something to do with Sean on it.
Well, they're just getting their position straight, aren't they? Along with some chit chat afterwards.
Any sign of the moon?
No, not yet.
I got an uninterrupted horizon.
Well, I'm on the first floor, so yeah, pretty much. There's a tree that's blocking a little bit of it, but you've seen my sunrise videos. You know, it does get in the way to a certain extent, but I can't get up any higher. I don't live on the third floor, so. Hello.
Yo.
Yeah, hello, can you not hear me? Can you not hear me? Clearly not. DRTRH has got a video out. Well, I'm not going to have time to watch it, I'm afraid, Dave. Before we start. Either of you two watched the DITRH video, whatever it is? Yeah, Nathan, we have, yeah. Yeah. I got nothing. That's good, guys. I hate Skype. There we go, that's ringing. There we go, that's working.
Any sign of the moon?
No sign of the moon.
Just got a farmer looking at me as if to say, what the hell are you doing in the corner of my field?
Just tell him. Looking at the moon. Yeah, last year I did actually, like I say, I was up at a different vantage point, so I as lazy as it sounds, I drove up the road and just stood and looked at it and just watched it. But it was after, well no, it was about this time, You know, it's at dusk. I still think it's worth hanging around.
Nah, it's totally clouded out, mate. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna look, instead of looking east, if the moon's due up now, it's just blanket cloud. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna look west instead and see see what I can see, because I'm not gonna see any moon at the moment.
Okay. We may as well hang around and chat to me while I see if I can see one, because it's, you know, rapidly getting very dark here.
Yeah, it's rapidly getting dark here as well. I've got the most amazing view of Alamanto. Oh no, I can see Snape at that back of lighthouse flashing away here, like crystal clear.
How high are you?
I'm on the hill at Edgemont.
Get a few. Have you got your nice camera? So just take a few shots. It's probably got the sun setting right behind it.
Nah, it's not quite behind it, but it's not far off it.
Get a few shots, guys. Just get some artistic shots just for the beauty of it.
I'm on it. I'm trying.
I'll leave you to it. I'll call you back. Don't call me back because it'll interrupt my live stream.
Okay, well, the moon's due up now though, so this is the minute.
Okay, well, you stick with us then, and I'll tell you when it appears, because it's.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Because if I don't see it on the horizon, then that's it.
Okay. Okay. This is one of those things where if it wasn't live streaming, it wouldn't be exciting. I'd normally just stick the phone in and just get on with whatever. You know, I've seen it before with my own eyes, so it's like, oh, just stick the camera, let it go recording. But because it's live streaming, there's 120 odd people watching, waiting for this moon to come up.
Visibility tonight is fantastic going to the west. It's just not very good going east.
And that's where that's the direction of the Isle of Man from where you are.
I'm looking west, yeah, and visibility is fantastic. It's just naff all east. It's like looking at two different, totally different parts of the world. It's chalk and cheese kind of thing. It's weird. Yeah, I'm going to write mine off as a loss. So unfortunately, Rowan Devastable, I did try. However, for the second year on the run, I've been clouded out.
Well, I might get a big win then.
Do you not see it yet?
No, I still can't see it.
Yeah, you might get a big win, but it's so much for their predictive model, right? Making predictions.
Models can only give you correlations.
Yeah, but they say that it is their predictive model, right? It makes predictions. Well, it hasn't made a prediction, has it?
It hasn't made. A model will never make a scientific prediction. Pseudoscience, mate.
Yeah. Let's go.
Is that it poking its head out? Son of a bitch, it is. Ah, should I change position? This is shit. It's right. I'm gonna get my gimbal out.
Okay.
Should really let my wife know. I'm gonna run away. Okay, god damn it. Right. This is going to be a bit of a mission, isn't it? I'm going to have to... You'll be fine. Okay, hun. Gimbal's going nuts because it's not got a camera in it. Right, let's sort this out. Sorry, live audience, you're going to get jerky cam for a minute. So I don't mess this up and end my live stream. Right, let's go. I'll speak to you later, Anthony. Right, excuse me, sausage. Daddy's going on a little mission. No, you stay there. That's west. See if this stays live as I transfer from Wi-Fi to 3G or whatever it is. Oh, come on, stupid iPhone. Get in focus. Oh, you're joking. There we go. Finally. Why won't the iPhone let you focus when you're on a live stream? It'll let you zoom, but it won't let you tap to focus. It's annoying.
just shut, man. You ain't gonna listen to me the first time, then don't bother talking.
live stream focusing. Fun, fun, fun. Why won't you just tap to focus?